Walker just sent me an email. Hey, Walker, I haven't talked to you in a long time. Um, I'm not sure if you're on Facebook anymore. You don't seem to be on my friends list anymore. Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s homecoming. Throughout the pandemic, the anti vaccine activists raked in cash and cultivated right wing allies. Now he's running for president with a new support base. The thing is, okay, so when one of my activist friends called me last month when he announced and asked me what I thought about that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I thought he's a Republican. I thought he's a Republican. I was highly confused about this because I thought he was a Republican. Anti vaccine activist and environmental attorney Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who recently announced that he is running for president as a Democrat, has been raking in cash throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, promoting misinformation. The influx of money has been aided by an ongoing right wing campaign to undermine public health measures, and Kennedy has made strong allies across the aisle. That's because he's QAnon crazy at this point. Like he's right there with them, you guys. Okay. Kennedy, 69, entered the 2024 presidential race last month with surprising tailwinds. His poll numbers against incumbent Joe Biden have consistently been in the double digits. That's literally only because people recognize the name from his father. Because voters are stupid sometimes, you guys. Okay. Some of Kennedy's early strength is likely due to legacy. He is the son of late Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy and nephew of the late President John F. Kennedy. But Kennedy is well known for his environmental advocacy, too. In the 1980s, following an arrest and guilty plea for possession of heroin, Kennedy began volunteering with the Natural Resources Defense Council to satisfy a condition of his probation. Environmentalism blossomed into a career after he was admitted to the New York State Bar in 1985. How many heroin addicts do you know can actually then go on to become attorneys? That's what privilege looks like, y'all. That's what privilege looks like. Over the years, Kennedy has worked with NRDC and other groups on causes like clean water, even founding the global environmental network Waterkeeper Alliance in 1999. Kennedy has won awards for his efforts, including the Sierra Club's William O. Douglas Award in 2005, which recognizes those who have made outstanding use of the legal judicial process to achieve environmental goals, particularly those with national significance. In February 2013, Kennedy was one of many prominent activists and celebrities arrested protesting the Keystone XL pipeline. I don't think that's an owl that's hooting in the background. I think that might actually be a mourning dove. But it could be an owl. Anyway, today, however, much to the dismay of his family, Kennedy is best known as one of the leading voices in the anti vaccine movement. He has long promoted discredited, unscientific claims about vaccine safety. The Center for Countering Digital Hate listed him as one of the Disinformation Dozen, a group of the most prolific spreaders of online misinformation about COVID vaccines. Those vaccines have saved millions of lives, but Kennedy and his dark money group, Children's Health Defense, a 501c3 nonprofit founded in 2011 under the name World Mercury Project, have sought to ensure that fewer people get them. In the summer of 2021, CHD even targeted anti-vaccine propaganda at Black communities. This is why I decided to read this online for my YouTube channel, because that's fucking disgusting. And I have had conversations with some of my Black friends, and they are very concerned about well, the people I've talked to. I'm not saying like the entire community or anything like that. The people that I talk to have fallen prey to this type of misinformation, mainly because uh, historically the government has done this shit to their communities, like use them as like fucking test cases, insert, for vaccines or whatnot. And so it's not gone well for their communities in the past. And so they're kind of easy targets for this kind of misinformation. And so it's absolutely disgusting that he did this. At the time, Black Americans were dying from COVID at a significantly higher rate than white Americans. The group has also sponsored anti-vaccine mandate rallies in different cities. At one such event in January 2022, Kennedy sparked outrage when he invoked Anne Frank to claim that vaccine mandates were more difficult to escape than Nazi Germany. Fuck's sake, dude. Oh my God, you're so gross. Holy shit. Wow. Some people just need to have the mic taken away. You want to be an ugly person, fucking do it in private. Because we don't need this kind of nonsense spread amongst the masses. Holy shit. Oh my God. Kennedy's family is not supporting his campaign, but family isn't everything. He has found a new home. Anti-vaccine advocacy has been lucrative and earned him key allies on the right. This is why I thought the dude was a Republican, you guys. I thought he was a Republican. Who want to see him shake up and divide the Democratic Party in the upcoming presidential election. That's exactly why they're courting you guys. They know that you're going to try and fuck us over. They know. They know Jimmy Dore is going to fuck us over. They know the Convo Couch is going to fuck us over. They know Nico House is going to fuck us over. They know Brianne Joy Gray, or Gray Joy, or however that goes, is going to fuck us over. They know you're all going to fuck us over because you're not putting enough thought into how to move forward things like Medicare for All. And you obviously don't care about everything, and so it's very easy to make you look fucking ridiculous and make you look like you represent everybody on the left. Because you're like, yeah, I can hang out with Boogaloo Boys, right? I can go to Arizona with this company that's never actually done a recount before and watch them FOIA all of the ballots and recount them in some grandstanding bullshit because the election was over 5-6 months ago. You guys are so fucking destructive. It's amazing. Thank you, Walker, for writing this, by the way. Cash injection. According to federal tax filings, CHD, which Kennedy took over in 2015, has seen ballooning revenues since the start of the pandemic. Of course, the group has passed this success on to Kennedy. Today, the chairman and chief legal counsel. Okay. I don't think that's supposed to. You're not supposed to be coordinating with PACs, right? Isn't that an FEC violation, Mr. Kennedy? All right. On its 2019 IRS Form 990, the group reported nearly $3 million in revenue. A year later, however, the number had more than doubled to $6.8 million. A year after that, it had once again more than doubled, hitting a whopping $15.6 million, most of which came through contributions. However, given that the group did not fill out its Schedule B, we cannot know how the donations break down. Email requests to Kennedy's campaign and CHD to provide a list of CHD's top donors and donation amounts were opened but went unanswered. Kennedy has seen a significant financial benefit from his group's cash explosion, according to the tax filings in 2019. CHD paid Kennedy $255,000. The number grew to $345,000 in 2020 to nearly $500,000 in 2021. Kennedy is by far the group's highest paid officer. The runner-up was Vice Chair Mary Holland, who was paid $52,000 in 2019 and $180,000 in both 2020 and 2021. Sorry, Mary, you hit the glass ceiling, apparently. In addition to his CHD income, Kennedy does paid speaking engagements. Our unanswered inquiry to the campaign included a question about his fees. Meanwhile, in November 2021, Kennedy published a best-selling book about the career of Dr. Anthony Fauci in November 2021, accusing the infectious disease scientist of participating in a historic coup d'etat against Western democracy. You know what? I think that's when the hate towards Fauci really ramped up, right? Like that was like at first everyone's like, Dr. Fauci, tell us what to do. And then this misinformation started circulating and everybody's like, I don't know about this Dr. Fauci guy. Right? Oh my God. There's so many knuckleheads in America. I can't even. Y'all just fucking believe all this bullshit. CHD's website boasts that the book, The Real Anthony Fauci, Bill Gates, Big Pharma, and the Global War on Democracy and Public Health, was a smashing success, having sold more than 1 million copies and sitting on the New York Times bestsellers list for 17 weeks. Wasn't that fun? A multi-generational Democrat. Kennedy has framed his 2024 presidential bid as an effort to restore the Democratic Party of old, to return to a time when it was less beholden to economic elites and big corporations. Okay, big money man. Okay, big money dude. You tell us how you're gonna get back to the working class. All you do is earn money by spreading misinformation and giving speeches. Give me a break. I gotta have some water. Gotta wet my whistle. In a Twitter thread last week, he lambasted the party and the Biden administration for being riddled with neocons, war hawks, Wall Street people, and former corporate lobbyists. It's amazing. You know, it's amazing that Marianne can't achieve this too. But the thing is, he literally only has fame because of name recognition. if people actually did the deep dive of reading these articles about him and like learning more about him, his numbers would be much lower. I'm a multi-generational Democrat, he tweeted. Remember when we upheld the interests of the poor and middle class against big corporations and Wall Street? No, I don't remember when you did that. I'm quite certain you haven't knocked on doors like I have, right? I don't think you've done this. I don't think standing in front of an audience for, like 30 minutes or whatever, is you fighting the good fight. Like, I literally spent 10 hours a day doing this bullshit, RFK. Give me a break. 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and then another hour of work at home. Plus a 1 hour and a half commute one way twice a day. That's cool, though. I'm sure you're awesome. Remember when we were the party of peace, civil liberties, and people power? Yeah, but that wasn't you, buddy. It was fucking you. He's trying to take credit for his ancestors' achievements. I aim to reclaim my party and its traditional values. No, I think you aim to misinform the American public, make them sick, and die. That's what it sounds like. But integral to Kennedy's pandemic era success, and perhaps his electoral prospects, has been his alignment with the political right. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, we're going to get into guns. Since March 2020, right-wing groups like those in billionaire industrialist Charles Koch's political network have been working to defeat and undermine public health measures seen as potentially disruptive to business, including lockdowns, school closures, and masking. As a commentary from the DC-based conservative think tank Heritage Foundation noted back then, while earlier concerns had focused on disruptions of supply chains linked to China, current fears are much more strongly connected to the downturn in global demand due to quarantines, lockdowns, business closures, employment furloughs. Before long, however, the right-wing anti-public health campaign encompassed vaccination efforts as well, particularly federal vaccine requirements and mandates, which business groups opposed. Which is so fucking stupid. You all want everybody to go back to work, but you don't want them to get vaccinated so that they won't get sick and they won't spread the disease. Y'all fucking stupid. Oh my God, even. On Twitter, Kennedy initially touted lockdowns as having not just slowed COVID-19, it reduced lethal air pollution plus associated mortality. Okay, wait. So now you're flipping your position? I'm trying to like process this information. He shared a story criticizing Donald Trump for failing to take early action against the virus, as well as a mutual aid link to help those struggling with the virus. I'm a little confused about like where he lands here. But Kennedy's attitude shifted dramatically as the crisis wore on and vaccines were developed. Huge conflict of interest, he tweeted in May 2020. The former pharma executive, tapped by President Trump to lead the federal government's hunt for a COVID-19 vaccine, has more than 10 million in stock options in one of the companies receiving federal funding. I'm fairly certain there was at least like two, or there was three. There was three American companies that actually developed vaccines. And they all got federal grants to do it because it was a matter of, it was a public health crisis. They all got fucking money. Well, I agree with you. Like, there is a conflict of interest when people are invested in these areas that are getting money to develop things. Um, this was a human health crisis. It needed to be done, period. Um, and you want to have a clean money campaign, that's great. Let's do it. But holy shit with your misinformation. By August 2020, Kennedy had joined Dr. Simone Gold, the founder of pro-Trump doctor group America's Frontline Doctors, which has hawked quack COVID cures as a headliner on the Ministry Now program of deceased televangelist and anti-vaxxer Marcus Lamb. Lamb died from COVID complications in November 2021. Yeah, Trump really does know how to kill his friends. During his interview, Kennedy showered Gold. Today, a convicted Capitol rioter with praise, calling her an amazing woman, so brave, and so amazingly smart. He suggested that the vaccine industry... Why is that in quotes? Why is this in quotes? He suggested that the vaccine industry and Bill Gates had worked to suppress hydroxychloroquine. I hope I said that right. In order to fast track the jabs. Like, all of their bullshit, their fucking snake oil salesman bullshit. Hydroxychloroquine. I literally I just removed somebody from my follow list on Twitter yesterday who was sharing information about ivermectin. Like, that's still going on too. Still going on too. They've now put tens of billions of dollars to fast track the vaccines, he said. That whole business model collapses if hydroxychloroquine is shown to work. Okay, well, y'all been talking about it for 2 years and you have no evidence that it works. Remember when Trump told everybody to fucking, like, digest bleach? Y'all have to be really stupid to follow the right at this point. And this guy's fucking cozying up with the right. Hydroxychloroquine does not work as a treatment for COVID. By February 2021, Kennedy and CHD had joined groups like the Koch-funded Independent Women's Forum in promoting false narratives about lockdowns and school closures, claiming that they were allegedly causing a spike in suicides among children and teens. In reality, however, suicides among young people declined in 2020, corresponding with closures. Yeah, because they aren't getting bullied in school anymore, you guys. There were a lot of benefits to actually keeping your kids at home. Now, of course, if you're abusive people and you're abusing your children while they were home, that's a problem. I can tell you that a lot of the kids in my neighborhood were getting abused and neglected. However, the schools reopened pretty quickly, and these kids are still running around the neighborhood in the middle of the week. So that tells me that their parents are homeschooling them anyway. They increased again as the country reopened. Moreover, no studies have isolated the impact of closures from the general impacts of living through a pandemic. Dr. Tyler Black, a clinical assistant professor at the University of British Columbia Department of Psychiatry, told important context that overall mental health ER visits decreased significantly during the closure periods throughout the US, though he added that when it comes to specific presentations and populations, we see differences. A homecoming. More than a mere incidental alliance, Kennedy has been cultivating right wing allies, using his anti vaccine advocacy and COVID related misinformation as a bridge. In July 2021, he was photographed backstage at a Reawaken America event with former Donald Trump advisor Roger Stone. Oh, I forget. I keep forgetting to do this, but I do want to get some footage of the location Roger Stone was telling his fan base to go to in my neighborhood, to have an indictment. Remember the indictment protest or the arrest process? Was he was being arrested that day, right? Or so he said. He told everybody who's going to be arrested, but it didn't actually happen for like a week later. But they had all the usual suspects in this area, all the knucklehead QAnoners showed up with giant flags to that corner. And I want to show you what that corner looks like because it's a fucking disaster. It's like one of the worst possible places to have a protest these days. And Roger Stone fucking sent them all there. That was hilarious. Okay. And it was an event with Donald Trump advisor Roger Stone, former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, and anti vaxxer Charles Bullinger, all of whom have promoted Trump's election fraud lie, which is the main goal of these. Like, it's not so, I mean, obviously that he wants to kill civilians in America, but it's more than that. He also was trying to propagate his big lie, right? Okay. That same month, CHD illegally gave a $50,000 donation to the Republican General's Attorneys General Association. I feel like the S should have been on general, not on attorney. I don't know. I don't know how this goes. Kennedy's November 2021 book about Fauci has secured him interviews with big name conservatives like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly and Dennis Prager, as well as speaking gigs. In March, for example, he gave a speech about Fauci and the public health establishment at Hillsdale College, a small conservative college that receives funding from Koch's network, including $55,000 from the Charles Koch Foundation in 2021. Kennedy remarked that being at Hillsdale felt almost like a homecoming because of the incredible role this institution played during COVID-19, when it was the only college left in the country that really stood up for freedom. What an amazing clown, you guys. I can understand why his family is so embarrassed of him. Kennedy's right-wing allies see him in the potential to disrupt the Democratic Party and undermine public health. Recently, it was reported that GOP strategist and former Trump aide Steve Bannon had been urging Kennedy to run for months, hoping his candidacy would cause chaos and spread anti-vaccine sentiment. Kennedy has denied Bannon played any role in his decision to run. Back in February, notorious COVID misinformer and anti-vaxxer Steve Kirsch, who appeared on Kennedy's podcast to discuss vaccines last May, announced on Substack that he was forming a super PAC to draft the prolific anti-vaccine activist to run and was looking for volunteers. That's what a lot of candidates do, is they reach out to what they consider to be their base first to figure out how many people are going to sign up as volunteers and whether or not there's enough interest. So clearly he has enough crazies out there that he felt comfortable doing it. I'm sure it didn't look anything like when Bernie had the same effort done through various organizations. There was a couple. PDA was doing it, and there was another group that was getting us together and saying, hey, we need to show support. Can't remember the name of that group, but I did events for them too. I can't think of anyone more qualified to clean up the mess and unite the country than RFK Jr. Kirsch wrote. So I'm putting together a super PAC to encourage him to run for president on the Democratic side against Biden. Okay, well, you do you, but it's not going to fucking happen. Like, I think that most of the country at this point is sick of all of you trying to misinform us and lie to us and give us a bunch of bullshit. Like, most people are kind of done with your mess. When Kennedy filed his candidacy on April 5th, the news was met with right-wing enthusiasm. Talk show host Steve Deese of The Blaze posted a photo with the anti-vaxxer on Twitter, accompanied by the caption, "As long as he doesn't go trans." Oh my God. Where? Why? Why? Do you just have to, like, take random hits at a marginalized community that is, like, less than... I mean, they're like less than 1% of the population. Like, why are you constantly like punching down like that? Fuck's sake. A man with high character and courage like RFK Jr. will be tempting. No, especially now that you fucking posed it like that. Fuck's sake. Weeks later, in a CNN interview, oh my God, CNN, why are you even giving these people airspace? Why? Kennedy said he was not in favor of allowing transgender women to compete in women's sports, calling them biologically male. He's a Republican, you guys. Human rights groups like the American Civil Liberties Union and the Human Rights Campaign have pushed back on transgender athlete bans as discriminatory and unscientific. Can the presidential race in 2024 please be RFK Jr. versus Trump? Tweeted Janine Yones, an attorney working for the House Subcommittee on the Weaponization of the Federal Government, whose previous work as a litigation counsel for the Koch-funded litigation outfit New Civil Liberties Alliance involved fighting to protect COVID misinformation spreading doctors from career consequences and censorship. Oh my God. Charlie Kirk was also laudatory of the new Democratic candidate. Oh boy, even Charlie Kirk, I think he's on like Newsmax, right? He's on one of these extreme right-wing channels. The founder of the billionaire-funded Turning Point USA, a right-wing dark money group aimed at high school and college students, called Kennedy one of the most articulate and thoughtful political activists going after the administrative state and the fourth branch of government. I would vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for president over Mitt Romney any day, Kirk said. I would vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for president over Lady Graham any day. For those of you who don't remember, a story came out. I want to say it was like a year ago. A story came out that Lindsey Graham is actually closeted gay, and there's a lot of male escorts who have been with him, who know him, and call his name on the streets is Lady G. So, but if you're talking in a business context or a political context, a professional context, that's really inappropriate to make that reference. Kennedy's official campaign launch in Boston on April 19th was conspicuously missing members of his own famous family. Several are openly supporting Biden's reelection. However, the event was attended by Jeffrey Tucker, the founder of the Brownstone Institute, a dark money group that has been a prolific hub of COVID-related misinformation. It was a long article, Walker. Tucker, who has promoted Kennedy's book about Fauci, is a child labor advocate with reported ties to neoliberal Confederate groups, as well as a longtime veteran of Koch's political influence network. He is one of the main organizers of the so-called Great Barrington Declaration, an influential open letter from October 2020 that advocated for COVID herd immunity through mass infection and minimal intervention. They just wanted to fucking kill people, y'all. Brownstone was originally billed as the spiritual child of the Declaration. This is so gross. Kennedy and Tucker posed for a photograph together at the launch event. Tucker later wrote of his experience in an article titled The RFK Jr Potential for Political Disruption, which was published by the Epoch Times, a far-right online conspiracy magazine that regularly promotes COVID-related and anti-vaccine misinformation. The nonprofit behind the publication received $31,000 in 2021 from Donors Trust, a preferred funding conduit of Koch network donors. They're literally just trying to kill us, you guys. To be sure, he has been on record as being among the climate change alarmists in even recent history, Tucker wrote. Have his views on this topic shifted in light of the fake COVID-19 science of the past 3 years and the lockdown experience? Perhaps so. Many people on the left have begun to rethink this topic, and perhaps Kennedy is among them. Brownstone published an excerpt from Kennedy's launch speech criticizing the so-called lockdowns that same day. God, Fox is even in this. Fox News, meanwhile, has given Kennedy's campaign ample coverage. On the day of the launch, the anti-vaxxer was interviewed by Tucker Carlson during prime time. Days later, he was on Neil Cavuto's show. The right-wing love for Kennedy has even led... By the way, this is the same bullshit they did for Tulsi Gabbard. This is exactly how they behaved with Tulsi Gabbard. The right-wing love for Kennedy has even led to some conservatives suggesting him as a possible running mate for Donald Trump. Oh, because that would fulfill that that would fulfill that conspiracy theory, wouldn't it? It wasn't JFK Jr. It was RFK Jr., y'all. All right. The presumptive GOP 2024 frontrunner. For example, AFLDS spokesperson and creative director John Strand, an underwear model who, like gold, was convicted for storming the Capitol on January 6, 2021, called the pairing a winning ticket. Tagging Roger Stone, he even offered it in response to a tweet asking for your dream 2024 presidential ticket. Bannon, too, has floated the idea because you know what? It goes right along with the QAnon fucking bullshit. Oh my God. Wow. A chilling message. Excerpts told important context. They worry about the effect Kennedy's campaign might have on the nation. They fear that it will serve to further validate the dangerous junk science and vaccine skepticism he promotes. Acclaimed vaccine scientist Dr. Peter Hotez, who developed a patent-free COVID vaccine, told important context that he is concerned because three 2024 presidential hopefuls, Kennedy, DeSantis, and Trump, have pursued an aggressive anti-science agenda. I'm sorry, why don't you throw Williamson in there, Walker? What's happening here? Williamson is also anti-vax. Come on now. Hotez is the author of a new paper examining the threats posed by anti-science conspiracies to biomedicine, which calls out, among other things, the right-wing politicalization. Politicization. Sorry, trying to get that one out. Politicization of vaccines. Trying to get that one out. DeSantis and RFK Jr. seeking to undermine vaccine science and scientists, and Trump promoting dangerous therapies such as hydroxychloroquine. Hotez said, "My worry is that the 2024 U.S. presidential election could send a chilling message to our nation's research universities and institutes that America no longer welcomes science and scientists, ignoring our important historical contributions to the success and global stature of the USA." I feel like I'm only like halfway through this article. Through his work and family name, Kennedy has amassed a devoted online fan base with more than 1 million followers on Twitter alone. Early polling shows consistent support in the double digits, outpacing progressive spiritualist. This is the kind of shit we have to deal with on the left, y'all. Marianne Williamson. This is the shit we deal with on the left, you guys. A USA Today Suffolk University poll released on the day of Kennedy's campaign launch saw him with 14%. By contrast, progressive spiritualist Marianne Williamson, who declared her candidacy back in March, had just 5% support. Yeah, because she's a knucklehead candidate too. They're both knuckleheads, but he actually has name recognition. And quite frankly, it sounds like if most of his support is Republican, they can't even fucking vote for him. 8 days later, an Emerson College poll showed Kennedy with 21%, bearing Williamson by 13 points. Still, a recent Fox News poll found that while Biden was solidly favored with 62% support, The anti-vaccine crusader had 19%. Well, now you know how many stupid people there are on the left. The National Democratic Party supports Biden's re-election bid and does not plan to sponsor any primary debates. But with his pandemic profits and right-wing friends, Kennedy's war chest could prove deep enough to give Democrats a real headache. A headache, and that's about it. That's about it. Because you put your crazy on TV for us, if you've got a war chest where you can actually start buying some ads in swing states, um, most people are rational, asshole. Most people are actually rational. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here because my mouth is getting dry. Okay, there's only one paragraph left. Let's go. While the legitimacy and real threat of a serious RFK Jr. political campaign on the basis of name recognition and his millions of dollars and social media followers dedicated to disinformation about vaccines is very much on brand for the American political climate, I truly hope, as a northern neighbor, that it follows the general direction of trying to challenge an incumbent, said Black, noting incumbent presidents are generally safe from primary challengers. And this, yeah, that is true. Beau the Fifth did a pretty good segment on one-term presidents and how historically they had to have actual strong primary challengers to not get reelected. And these are not strong challengers. These are knuckleheads who are trying to harm Americans. Anybody who's out there telling you not to take vaccines is trying to kill you. Period.